Hello, everyone. I'm Jean-Claude BeyondMystic, and welcome to this deep woo-woo episode entitled Simulated Reality with SOLRETA. You can find her at SOLRETA here on YouTube and also at SOLRETAPsychicreadings.com or SOLRETA.com. Let's give her a big warm welcome, SOLRETA. Nice to have you back.
Thank you so much for having me. Hello to everyone watching. I was just saying to you backstage, I love the UFO at the top. We're definitely seeing a ramp up with the ET activity, with the realms and veils getting a lot thinner.
Right, absolutely. Well, it's funny you're saying that. Let me bring this one up on the screen. I just talked about this in the previous show here today. I was supposed to get Bruce C's all on the line, but we had a weird Mercury retrograde thing happening with our schedule. It didn't happen. But check out these three cylindrical ships.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
Going across the moon here, and they're casting the shadows. Look at that.
Oh my gosh. How cool is that?
There's one more at the bottom here. You see? Yeah, there's a lot happening, man. Anyways, I can't wait to have Bruce back on the chat to talk about that. But how is this manifesting also in your readings? And first, welcome everybody in the live chat. Just so you know, SOLRETA has a reading just after this show too. So we're going to make this show a little bit shorter here tonight. Yeah. And I also have another pay-per-view to record. So we're going to try to condense things a little bit as compared to usual. But please do bring your comments on the screen here as we go into this live interactive chat with you guys. And of course, it is a Mercury retrograde. I'm having trouble speaking in English today. It's been a weird day. So how is this ET stuff manifesting for you and your clients right now in your reading work?
And I just want to say, you just reminded me of something. So I've actually got a show on after here. So I'm interviewing one of my good friends who's an amazing manifestor and hypnotherapist and life coach, but she's also a soulmate coach. So she specializes in helping you find and attract your soulmate. So it's my good friend, Emerald Sinclair, who is gorgeous. So yeah, she's going to be live streaming with me just straight. I'd probably be, in an hour's time. Right. So that will be on my YouTube channel and also on Facebook.
Okay, so guys, if you're watching me on BeyondMystic here, let me just bring that link down into live chat so you guys can go click on that and subscribe also to SOLRETA's channel here. Okay, so let me bring that up on the screen. There you go. All right. Wow, and what's this going to be about? Your interview.
Oh, so this one we'll be asking Emerald questions about how to manifest soulmate, how to let go of subconscious beliefs, fears, and programming that we might have going into relationships. She's such an amazing, gorgeous person, but so intelligent and so knowledgeable, especially when it comes to manifesting soulmates. But she also does work as a life coach and helps with businesses. And she does sort of like orientate more towards female perspective, but there's so much valuable information, whether you're in divine masculine, divine feminine, and she's just a ray of sunshine. So I'm sure that a lot of your viewers would really resonate with what she has to say.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited for you and the development of your channel, because I think you do a good job at interviewing people, so it'll be cool.
Oh, thank you. Well, I need to lock you in for a time too. It was in my mind waking up this morning. I'm like, we need to somehow coordinate or like slip into another dimension. And,
we need to clone ourselves. We don't have enough time in a day. I was just saying in my update video today, because of the Mercury retrograde and me missing one of my shows, I said, and SOLRETA and I actually missed our recording date for last week. We were supposed to record episode 3 of Kundalini Rising. And of course, we missed that one too. So today, quickly after the show, SOLRETA and I will look at our schedule and put that back on the board for you guys.
Yeah, definitely. Right. Oh, and speaking of Mercury retrograde, that's what I was going to say. So with Mercury, I get the same thing with speech. To me, I have to start channeling and working with other planetary energies. I really need to harness and focus on, other things. So Mercury kind of governs communication, speech, technical type things. So for me, if I can lean more into other planets, so I really like to go more Venus when we're experiencing Mercury. So Venus is sort of go with the flow. It's more artistic, more about beauty, about harmony. I just find that kind of thing works to sidetrack and also to not get too in our heads. So we tend to overanalyze things when Mercury retrograde's happening. We tend to bring things up from the past. This is where I've talked about, relationships of the past, or thinking around relationships and things tends to come up to revisit. So if we can step more into Venus, more into open heart, and let experiences kind of gravitate towards us or come up, and view it as like an introspection, or go, oh, that's really interesting that that's come up, rather than having to wear it as a mask and go, oh my gosh, this is happening in the here and now. If we can be lovingly detached from it, then we're able to kind of revisit things and not have to fully look into it. But it's also the time for, taxes, legal stuff, the finishing off of different things as well. So sometimes it does really pull us back into the mental realm of things. So it's good to balance and get out into nature. And so just to
let me ask you also, because we're seeing this here on my channel, quite a few emails coming up and questions for the different guests. But if you're in a relationship right now and you're being strained by this Mercury retrograde, what do you have on right now? Are you still doing the 2-hour sessions for couples?
Yeah.
Is that still available? Okay, let me bring that up.
So I've still got those ones available. So if you use the discount code LOVE on my 2-hour sessions, and thank you for the beautiful comment, Alison. So if you use the discount code LOVE, you'll get $30 off the couples sessions, and the same with the 2-hour session.
Okay, very good. And let me bring that on the screen there. So book with Solreta at solretapsychicreadings.com, and the discount code is LOVE in high caps letters. Okay, how do you want to navigate this show here today? Of course, there's the retrograde, there's weird things happening around the world. Of course, it's all happening at the same time, and we're feeling jittery. I'm getting a lot of emails of that too. People are just feeling jittery. They're saying, I can't even drink coffee anymore, I'm already jittery. Like, what's going on, Solreta? What are you seeing? In the last show too, somebody said, hey guys, did you feel this weird energy shift, or maybe a timeline shift this last weekend? So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. What are your thoughts on that, and how are you managing with this energy flux?
I think we may have had, I've got my diary here, let me check. I think just as soon as you said that, I felt like Saturn energy. So we had been in Saturn retrograde, which is Saturn moving backwards. So we were moving outside of the rules and things that have been enforced, created, or told that we have to live by. So when Saturn goes more direct, it's more we might see a change or a switch around to do with rules and different things. And I just saw Connie said timeline jumps everywhere. So we can experience a little bit, excuse me.
Bless you.
A little bit of this energy, but I'm pretty sure it was just a few days ago. Let me check. Yeah, so it was on the 11th, which is 2-3 days ago, we had Saturn go direct. So we might see the start of possibly like new enforcements or new rules or different things. But I do think that thanks, Connie. I do think that there is that energy coming into let's pick some cards on it and see what's happening with this energy. It has been a little bit up and down.
Let me tell you this part here, just so you know where I'm going with this. I'm also getting I'm not getting the heart voice, but I'm getting this weird download of imagery and knowing that some of us humans have to concentrate on breaking the transmission between Saturn and the moon as a repeater station for the matrix that we're in now. And it is breaking in itself, and this is why perhaps a lot of the mandates around the planet are being enforced to kind of reinforce that old matrix or the new one they're trying to overlay maybe on this one that's breaking. But it's something I think that the audience needs to focus on as well. So if you want to
that's so
talk
funny
about
that
that
you say that. JC, you and I are like telepathy twins, because the image that I was getting from Spirit was an ocean with a boy out in the center of the ocean. And it's, okay, just, kind of like rock, just like let it, it's like feel the craziness, but you can actually turn that craziness. And the other image that I'm getting is a newborn baby in a car seat. And, the parents will try anything to get that baby to sleep, even if it means driving around for an hour, just that rocking motion of the car. So with all of the chaos, it's still, feeling it come in, but not necessarily letting it penetrate your aura. So I'll flip these cards over. So yeah, we've got a lot of illusion that's still being played out. We've got a lot of positive things that are stepping forward out of the darkness, but we also have different veils and different illusion that's starting to shed, starting to drop. We have the Four of Discs, which for me, this is sort of like empathically kind of like hold your frequency, hold your energy. We see the water going around the castle, which is surrounded. We've got earth, air, fire, and water in all of the elements. We've got the soul aspect or sun coming in from the window at the top. This is Capricorn energy. This is like quite stubborn. It really has a sense. And we also have Leo and Mars with this as well. So there's very strong dominant energies, but we can also use those strong dominant energies. For me, with this kind of like constriction or control type frequencies that are coming on, this is where I've been more stepping into channeling this Venus frequency. So we really need to operate outside of the matrix in order to not feel that we're constricted by this. So I just keep getting that same vision of bobbing on the water. And it really is kind of that waiting game. The other vision that I had in a reading a couple of days ago was it's that, that initial earthquake and the tsunami comes onto the beach. And then there's that drawing back out into the ocean where the water's receding. So I really feel that we're in a receding type moment, but everyone feels that second flash flood or that second release of water is imminent. So even with the visions of water that we're getting, we know that this is a lot to do with the emotion. So this is where we have to be the emotional guardians or governors of what we're feeling. So we know that our hearts are electromagnetic, and that when we feel something, we start to create our reality around this. So we can kind of see that in this card that he has like a source field type thing around him. So we want to make sure that we're in harmony with what we're feeling, what we're creating. So I'm just going to get some clarifiers. I did pick a card before we came on and got full spectrum. So we're really starting to learn about our ability. Oh, and with the cards, this is the Thoth deck. Oh, sorry, wrong deck. I've got like 3 decks in my hand.
Yeah, Deborah is saying SOLRETA's cards are so pretty. Let me bring that up. There you go.
Thanks, Deborah. So yeah, this is the Thoth deck. And look what we have as the obstacle to overcome. That's right at the bottom. We've got the tower. So we're still experiencing this collapse of the tower. Now, some towers will go straight down or will be a demolition control, as we've seen about 20 years ago, what happened in our physical reality or hologram, should I say. You guys all know what I'm talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The regulars of this show.
It's just a conspiracy theory. That's all.
Where's my tinfoil hat gone?
Love it.
So yeah, my other deck that I'm using is Beyond Lemuria, which is one of my favorite newer decks, which is
well hold on. A lot of people are going to ask. Bring that back up. Yeah, there you go. Wow. So have you used that one before in the show?
Yeah, a couple of times.
Okay.
Yeah, just recently.
Okay.
So yeah, if we're looking at this energy of bobbing up and down on the water and being that buoy, we see here that she has her eyes closed, that she's in tune with her environment. She's in tune holographically with what is around her. She's in tune with nature, with God, with the universe. We're not going to let a little bit of water affect us in holding the line or holding the light. So let's get some cards to clarify. Okay,
so Rita, I have to say, while you were meditating there, you're glowing. You have this amazing glow today. More than usual.
Is it only when I close my eyes to tune in to the glow switch on?
Yeah, I don't know. Did you guys notice that in the chat? Let us know. It looks like SOLRETA was glowing there just for a moment. Anyways, cut me off guard. Okay.
Hey, it must be this energy going full spectrum.
Right.
So the cards that we've got to clarify are really interesting. It isn't an energy of rushing in. It's an energy of really holding that frequency of who we are on a core level. For me, I feel it's about peeling away those external layers. It's really kind of, thank you. It really is sort of shedding away the old. You guys are so sweet. Thank you.
It's just hard to do a show when everybody's giving you compliments. I know, right?
It's really, I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Mike. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Sophie and Mike. So we've got Ace of Wands, which is in reverse. We've got the Eight of Wands in reverse. So at the moment, it's not really about starting anything new. For me, it feels to hold that line, because Eight of Wands, when it comes up, is an energy of rushing in really fast. So something new that's coming in, that's changing. I'm also seeing the Eight of Pentacles in reverse too. So for me, like with this, it represents stand still, like removing the layers of what we've built to really sort of get back to that core. So I feel that it's in kinesiology, we have this saying that's when we're trying to get to a subconscious or core belief, and this will be also, we'll be talking about this in my show that I'm doing after this with Emerald on my channel. So we're going to be talking about the subconscious beliefs and things. So if we look at a subconscious belief as a seed, and then, or if we look at it as the center of an onion, and we've created all of these beliefs or core or subconscious programmings around that. So say if our core belief is the very center of that onion, and then we have, 0 to 7 age group might have formed different beliefs around what we've experienced or what we've seen in the external world. Then we go into adolescent stage and teenage stages, and we're, our community is sort of widening. Our sense of who we are or who we're becoming, not only is it dictated by the experiences that we have or what we view, what we see, hear, feel, or experience, we're starting to form like different layers of the onion. So by the time that we get to mine and your age, JC, and even beyond, we've got so many more layers of this onion built up. So what I'm being shown by spirit, and from a kinesiology point of view too, we need to start taking away these layers. We need to start getting to the core of this full spectrum energy. So we need to really remember who we are on a soul level. So I'm just going to see if there's any other cards that they would like around this. I'll put these back in. I'm just going to ask, they're giving directions to look into what is it that we will see or experience when we really get back to this full spectrum core self.
Okay. And after this, I have a very special question in the PayPal tip jar about rocks and Evan and the Star of True Room. So I'll bring that next.
Okay, that sounds really good.
Yeah.
So the energy that we've got when we sort of strip back to this core, I'm seeing that there's a lot of work for some out there. Everyone's going to be on a different timeline with this. So we've got Princess of Discs. So some people are still flipping the world up on its head. There's still some that are really realizing that they're actually in control of the simulated reality of this matrix. So this is to really be that guardian on the threshold, be in control of this. So if the mind is out of control, or if the body is out of control, really, how can we bring it back? How can we balance that buoy on the water that we were talking about out in the deep ocean? So it's really becoming less reactive on an emotional level because of that water representation. So how can we stay emotionally in tuned? How can we stay mentally in balance? Meditation, get out into nature. It's back to the basics. It's, how Steve Jobs says that we overcomplicate things, or, that things that it's more about streamlining. It's more about basics. We need to become sort of like more, I guess, with an iPhone, it's user friendly. It's very kind of simplified in a way compared to some other systems. So this is really, how can we get into a simplified version of ourselves? How can we kind of live closer to nature? But at the moment, up until the 28th, I think it is, we're still in Mercury retrograde. So it's like, hold that line. Do not get pulled into any drama, anything else, even till 2 weeks after this with that Mercury retrograde, because we've still got Tower energy. This is the second time tonight that we've had this card come up. So it really is, be that clear vision, be that peace. So we see the dove of peace near the all-seeing eye at the top. So it's to be that peace while the chaos is happening around us. Prince of Swords too. We've got 2 octahedrons in this. So we see one here in her wand, and we see one in the center of his sphere. So an octahedron in platonic solids, which are kind of like those base geometric shapes that relate to earth, air, fire, and water, and ether. This one is related to manifesting. So if we're trying to manifest something into the physical reality, we can visualize an octahedron, put our thoughts and our intention or vision inside of that to help bring it down into physicality. So we really need to be working on our intention going forth into the future of what it is that we see to manifest. This is literally hearing Spirit say, turn off the news, literally turn off the news in regards to this. Do not let the spell casting continue. Turn off the news. So I'm just going to quickly pull.
And Mark Pacheco in the chat is saying, yeah, de-stress. Yeah, deconnect, de-stress from this. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So we've got this to clarify, and then we'll move on to the question and tip jar.
Sure.
We've got 8 of Wands. This for me is our spiritual compass. So if we're staying in a state of watching the news, listening to conversation every day, whether it's in the workplace, whether it's friends, family, we're staying down here. We're not able to get up and ascend and work with this frequency that's more organized. It's more, our mind is in control. We've got Sagittarius and Mercury at the top. For me, this is a compass that can't find north. Now, if we want to transcend the compass, we need to come up into this beautiful Empress energy. We need to sort of section ourselves off into, she's the mother of all mothers. She's the divine goddess. She's there not only as an inspiration, a beacon of light, divine nurturing, Venus energy. We have the double Phoenix energies as well. Thank you, White Knight. So yeah, I mean, she totally radiates heart frequency. We see the medicine, the blue lotus over her heart chakra. The green and pink signify heart chakra. She has that beautiful crown on top of her head, and we see that she is holding the light in this beautiful dimensional space. There's eclipse moments that are coming in either side of her. She's causing that shift, causing that change. And look at this. It's like that layers of the onion that we talked about before. Hey, Ben. So we're really seeing that she is creating and birthing something new. So we have Ace of Wands, which is that new beginning. It's that we're moving towards something that's more aligned with who we are on a spiritual level. It is the shift, but we have to get in to create this shift, not let the shift be dictated to us. And we're each individually responsible for this. It's not sort of waiting for others to do it. It really is, you know, creating it. And when you start resonating and vibing with that, you're also going to start not only attracting the opposite for people that are perhaps, you know, like bringing the universe, bringing it to you to see if you're really ready to hold that, but you'll also attract more of your tribe that will be vibing with that, which we have here. I mean, we're so blessed with the audience.
You're an amazing tribe here. Yeah. Janice, she says, I love these shows. Thank you. Right back at you. We love you. Thank you for being on here. And Ben is like energized. Yes, we're all energized. It's like we're connected to a live wire. For me anyways, in the last couple of days too, having trouble sleeping, it feels like very much like high energy going through the body 24/7, especially at night for some reason. I'm very hot too. Like I keep putting the air conditioning on, and we're in October now. Usually it's very cold here, and it can't be cold enough in my house. And Sarah's like, oh my God, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm hot. I don't know what's going on.
It's probably the Kundalini activation too. It's been coming in for those that are, you know, open to those universal energies. Kundalini is being activated, like never before for some at the moment too.
Yes, and I'm excited to do part 3 with you because we wanted to get into this topic and this connection also. So anyways, folks, I promise SOLRETA and I will pick a date here soon.
We've been Mercury retrograding. It's like, oh, I thought we were doing this day, because we were also working between time zones. So it's like,
right. And so Mike's like, JC, you're too young for the male menopause. I'm having hot flashes, man. You guys are funny, man. Okay. PayPal tip jar. Yes, there's a beautiful question here. Shannon. Okay, can I bring this up on the screen? Hi, SOLRETA. Okay, if you guys see this, okay, there you go. Let me try to zoom in. Okay, that fits. Okay, hi, SOLRETA and JC. I'm intrigued by the shares of Stephen and Evan Strong regarding rocks in Australia. Can you tell me about my 8-year-old son? He has always had fascination with rocks.
Yeah.
now show signs of being in tune with the trees. Okay.
Perfect.
Let's read into the sign of Shannon here. And as we're doing that too,
Definitely.
I wanted to point the audience to Forgotten Origins. This is where you'll learn about the work of Kevin and Evan Strong. And also, SOLRETA had brought us this knowledge here of the Star of Tarum in one of our last shows. So these two links for you guys if you wanted to do some research on that as well.
And see what's actually really happening here in Australia. Because part of this constructed artificial reality that is being spellcast or broadcast is not the true reality of what's actually happening. If we turn off the news, if we don't go to the shops, we don't experience or see any of the chaos that's happening. If we tune into nature and we look for the bird signs, as I've talked about on other shows, and Auntie Minnie Mace also talks about looking for the bird signs, we actually see the animals are starting to interact more with us, and we see them come up to us. My dad was even patting a kookaburra a couple of weeks ago, which are our birds that laugh here. But yeah, really, really important to check out the work of Stephen and Evan Strong and the Star of Tarum, which Uncle Alan Parsons, who's on Facebook, he got me onto what's happening with the Star of Tarum because it's a big part of his life. And, you know, I was lucky enough to be able to meditate with a couple of the rocks going back into place, both in Uluru with the ceremony that took place there, and then with the Star of Tarum, I was able to hold space and hold energy here in Melbourne. And it was almost like this serpent of light activating the grid points on the earth. So that's what's being hidden. That's what's happening, is a lot of these grid points that are sacred, which some people would call chakras or, you know, energy grids that are taking place on the earth. This is the reason that we're seeing the animals come back in and communicate with us. The veil between worlds is being, how would I say, is slightly dissolving. And that's why the spellcast side of things, why they're really trying to ramp up the fear so that we don't see beyond the veil. But for those that are wanting to see beyond the veil, this is why we're experiencing and seeing more ETs come into our room. We're experiencing a deeper sense of dreams or that lucid state between realities. We're experiencing more telepathy between friends, partners, children. So I did pick a card for that 8-year-old boy. And so the card that we have come up again is the Tower card. Out of 78 cards in the deck, this is the third time tonight that this has come up. So he's definitely here as a game changer. He's here to help bring about and restore peace and restore balance amongst the midst of this collapse or tower moment. I'm also getting shown Chiron energy. So we're currently in Chiron in Aries, I think it is. And if we think back to other times when we've experienced Chiron in Aries, so Chiron is the healer, and Chiron's job is to transcend, to not have to run and like individually heal, but it's to be a beacon of light, to become a teacher, to become sort of that shining example that radiates. So when we look into harsh times, Vietnam War was another time where we had this alignment of Chiron and Aries. So some of the young ones at the moment, especially the ones that are being born currently, even though they're still babies, they're holding a frequency of energy to be that beacon of light, to be that energy on the earth, to be that example. So some of the other children are around that are the indigos, that are the crystal children. We have the Blue Soul group, which so many of our beautiful audience that participate and are in comments have that Blue Soul group. So that the Pleiadian, Syrian, Lyran, inner earth being elvish realm soul group that are usually watching this show. So a lot of you are here to help anchor this ascension energy. We're not here to bring disharmony or to get in and be, fighting on the front lines, although some of them do. But it's more to hold this energy grid, which hooks into the stones. It hooks into nature and the trees. So I'll flip these cards for her son. And what's really interesting is we've got two of the other cards come up that we had just before with collective reading in the same alignment. So we've got 8 of Wands come up again. We've got the Empress come up again. These are in the exact same position. So we've just pretty much had 3 cards come up exactly the same as we had for collective. So her beautiful son is here to do with holding this collective line. He is a beacon of light. Knight of Cups energy is what we get for him. And we see he's coming from this other dimension. We've got the peacock frequency down here, and he's got angelic wings, which is the blue soul group energy that we have. Full heart chakra, fully empathic. I feel like a telepathic connection very strongly with him, meaning that he is able to also use psychometry. So a lot of the kids that are connected with nature, with the rocks, I had an experience reading for Stephen with one of the rocks, Stephen Strong, and I held one of the rocks and I said, I forget exactly word for word what I said, but I said, it's a link to the stars. It's a star map. And I held the rock and I saw a vision of the star beings, and that when you hold the rock, you see this map come up. Anyway, he came back to me a couple of days later and he's like, what was it that you said about that rock again? And I told him, and his mouth just dropped, because there was a beautiful boy who came to one of the viewings that they had with the rocks. And he's like, oh, I know that rock. And he said word for word exactly what I had said. So a lot of these children know, like I want to say I'm not unique in that way for picking up objects and reading. A lot of these children, it's a natural ability for them. And this is something that we all can have. So I highly encourage people to get out in nature, touch the trees. Some of the trees that have all of those little knots and little bungles and bumps are actually more what we would call like a tree spirit. Even one of my friends who's into magic and things and has been generationally talks about them being druids that chose to incarnate or transition into tree form, that hold knowledge, that hold wisdom and hold communication. So if you have a forest that has these kinds of trees, you can actually go to them and you will hear word for word, or if you're open empathically, you'll receive feelings, visions. So you can go and ask these trees for information. You can go and connect to some of these stones to receive downloads. So if you're out walking in nature and you feel a calling to pick up an object, the way that I teach psychometry or object reading, I'm just looking for an object to hold. Okay, so I've got a crystal right here. So if you're out in nature and you find a stone or something, just closing your eyes and holding it in your hands and letting the energy speak to you. And what I mean by this is we're not listening for auditory words, although some of you will receive auditory words. You might receive an impression, a feeling, a color, a number, a frequency, an energy come to you. So this is part of this beyond the veil that we're going to be experiencing. So starting to, get in contact with this, because when animals come along, if we've already practiced this kind of resonance or this kind of communication with different objects, animals communicate from a heart space. So we're going to find operating in this new frequency a lot easier. And I know that the dark side will use spell casting and will use particular words when they talk about a new state of what the world will be like. So we're, I'm not going to use those words, but we don't have to fall under that plan or under that kind of dominion is the word that I'm hearing spirit say.
I love it. Well, can we pull the cards, or maybe can you give advice to, I think Shannon is the mother. How does she foster
That is a
maybe
good
this
question.
connection that the kids have with the rocks and the trees, and maybe for all the other parents also to have that better connection with nature? How do we foster that?
Okay, so even just picking the cards, what I'm seeing is it's to be that beacon of light as the parent, as the role model. So it really is role modeling to the child what it is to get out there amongst that, because it's one of those things. It is rare to hold on to a gift like that. So sometimes it's through extreme stubbornness. So on my side of things, being clairvoyant and in tune since a young child, it was my stubbornness that held on to the gift. It was my desire and my want to kind of prove things to my parents that these realms and these things were real, that helped me to anchor this more into the physical, and also made me more determined with, photographing things, whether it was like UFOs or whether it's orbs, this kind of thing. It was my desire to show this world manifest in the physical reality to my family. But for a lot of kids, for them to sort of stay open to this realm, you see a couple of window opportunities. So 0 to 3 is when we're most open and we're most in tune and most will hear. So it's good to, I guess, when your child says something or communicates to you about what it's like, or what they're experiencing, or dreams or different things, it's good to be that sounding board and not to give too much information, because we don't want to lead them, but just to have that safe space for them to be able to communicate these things to us is really good. Then we also see sort of 7 to 9, which Rudolf Steiner talks about as the crossing. So this is when we're sealing off our aura and sort of separating ourselves, becoming our own independent will, where we start to form our own world around us rather than being, I guess, encompassed in the parent's aura and tightly held. So we're starting to experience more of the world outside of us. So if we're still holding on to these abilities, at this age, it's very likely that we'll carry that through into adulthood. But yeah, just creating a safe space for our children to be able to come and talk to us, or as a sounding board, or even, I'm also getting that some of you might be an aunt or an uncle to children like this. So you might be that special one person where you're also the rainbow in the family, and you have rainbow nieces or nephews that might seek you out as that guiding light. So it's to, yeah, I'm just seeing that it's not just the parents that we're talking to here. So I'll flip these cards. I knew that we had this card come up again. So I'll talk about it in order. So we've got Queen of Wands. Here's this beautiful mama, and being that shining example. Queen of Wands, she's not afraid. She's kind of fearless. So the cat here represents overcoming fear, overcoming obstacles, and even sort of to the point of feeling the fear and kind of like leading that charge or holding that vision, no matter what comes our way. It's being that beacon of light. We see the eagle on top of the crown. We also see the pine cone. And we can see that sun radiating. So it's to be that beacon of light, to be that source of light in her son's world. This is the one that I saw come up. So this is where I was like, I knew that we had this card, because I could still feel this frequency of it's fluxing between realities. So it's fluxing into the state of what's being spellcast or broadcast. And then there's that higher vision, or that higher knowing. We have Sagittarius, and we have that Mercury energy, and we have Knight of Swords come rushing in too. So this is sort of like mentally to give like that direction, to, I guess, to be that example in the world. I'm just going to ask if there's any other advice that we need around this. And flip these over. So I'm feeling with this, it really is sort of to stay fixed, to stay kind of like put, while they're using the word worlds, why these worlds are kind of balancing out. And when we look at this in relation to worlds, the vision that I started to have March last year was the Visca Pisces, going from third dimensional world into another world. Now, some of the Aboriginal elders talk about where we're forming a separate world, or there's a separate frequency of which some people are going to or manifesting. So there is discussion on, this frequency shift or alignment. Are we actually in two separate worlds? And when you look at it and you walk around, yeah, we kind of are. So what I'm seeing with this is, the Chariot in reverse. So this is more about sort of staying put, staying kind of like fixed, be that beacon of light that we talked about with this Queen of Wands, this example. We've got the Justice card come in. Justice card for me in regards to this question is actually about holding that light, holding that frequency while we're going from one state into the next. We also see the Wheel of Fortune come in reverse. For me, this represents that we are currently still experiencing these changing times. It hasn't solidified into an anchoring of this higher dimensional frequency just yet. So we haven't experienced the close off. There's still plenty of window of time for those that are wanting to anchor these frequencies, because I feel for some out there as we're talking, it's like, oh, I'm such and such age, or, I haven't meditated before. It is not too late for anyone. This is open for everyone, is what we're seeing. So it's just about, choosing, do we get caught up in this, what is it, the hamster wheel, or do we actually choose to rise above and beyond and kind of go with that rocking, flowy energy that's coming to us? The other thing that I'm seeing for her son specifically is I'm actually seeing agrimony bark flower tincture, and I feel energetically it protects his aura. So Google and look up the word agrimony, Agrimony, if I've dyslexically not mucked that one up. But if we look at it, I'm just feeling it provides a bit of stability, a bit of auric protection for him to emotionally help to shield himself and to not get pulled down or bogged down by the way in which the world is flowing at the moment.
Wow, that's fascinating. Okay. And SOLRETA, you're almost out of time. You have to prep for your next show.
About to jump into my next show. You too.
Yeah, I know. Let's read this quickly, though. Third Eye Focus says, JC, I like the previous show title with SOLRETA, Rather Than Simulated Reality. Okay, let's go down memory lane. So this is simulated reality. I love this one, and I love the frequency of the poster by far. This one was the one before, Psychic Readings with SOLRETA, which is still cool. That's SOLRETA sitting in front of a huge geode. Where's this geode?
I'm actually sitting inside of it.
Yeah.
It's a giant egg, yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. Okay. And then we had this one, which is just before that, which is still the series that we were
just to let you know, that's not me in the picture too.
No, it's not me either, just so you know.
Just so everyone knows.
This one was banned from YouTube, I think, on our first channel. But this is why we're doing this one on pay-per-view now. I had this one in my old computer one here. So this was like the Athenian goddess kind of, I don't know. I like the vibe of this one too. And then our first one was this one. Look how
oh my gosh. Wow.
So April 13, 2020. That's about a month into me creating this channel. So yeah, we've come a long way. Wow. But what do you think, SOLRETA? What do you guys think in the chat? This one or this one? What do you think, SOLRETA?
I think I just get the word incarnations. I think that it's almost that we've had a few incarnations here in YouTube world and a couple of bannings. And you know what? We're not going to let anything stop us. We're going to keep growing, keep, reaching for bringing that ascension energy down into YouTube world. So I'm happy to go with the flow and...
Me too. I'm going with the flow. So yes, it's SOLRETA and I. We took a picture together for that poster. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
You guys are hilarious.
No, I'm feeling ready for upgrades myself, and it looks like I'm going to be moving in a couple of weeks. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to just feeling grounded and getting out camping this weekend. I feel new fresh energy coming in. It's great.
I'm willing to change the poster if you are, and whatever the audience wants, I'll go with the flow. As you know, I'm a master.
Well, we can Photoshop our heads onto the body.
Well, maybe she didn't like the title, and not so much. I think the frequency is okay, but the title was a specific episode that we wanted to achieve at the time. Although we are living in this simulated reality, so it still encompasses all of these conversations. But I understand what the person is saying. Yeah. Anyways, all right, folks. That was a simulated reality with SOLRETA, part 19. And of course, you can book a session with her here at SOLRETA, psychicreadings.com. And the coupon code is LOVE in high caps. And of course, you can find her work at, where did you go? I had you. No, I had you somewhere. Where's your, hold on a second here. I just lost you. Damn it. Okay. Well, you can find her at SOLRETA here on YouTube also. And of course, she'll be live in a couple of minutes here with our famous guest. Let me bring that back on the screen here. I have.
Oh, thank you.
Hold on a second here. SOLRETA, where did you go? There you are. Okay, so this is the one. And also, if you guys are just joining us now late, let me bring that link back down in the chat. This is the next live stream here that SOLRETA is hosting on her channel. So there you go. That's in the live.
Thank you, JC. I
All right, you're
appreciate
very
that.
welcome. I love you, SOLRETA. Have a great show and have a
too.
great week.
Thank
and
you, everyone.
just
Thanks,
after
JC.
this, don't hang up. We'll pick a date to do the next Kundalini Rising show for the audience, and then I'll let you go.
That in.
All right, sounds
Okay,
good.
perfect.
All right, folks. I'll see you later. I love you guys. Have a good day. Au revoir.